Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
All right. Which one of you sardines called this meat?
Whatever, Major Loser.
Let the party begin!
Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The podcast where we delve into the historically inaccurate depths of movies and say, you know what? There are some likable things about it, too. That's Chad Ekowitz.
And that's Simone LaRue.
That was not my best introduction.
Hey, you were speaking the hard truths. We've all got to hear it, you know? These are facts. And movies do like to really loosely use that word based upon a true story. Very
you
loose.
Just, Chad. A movie has never been historically inaccurate in the history of the world. Never embellished or been horribly disrespectful about a tragedy in order to make it seem like there was something supernatural going on.
There are about 100 movies that just come to mind, but are we talking specifically about the O.J. Simpson atrocity that's coming out pretty soon? Are we talking about the Manson family murder atrocity that's just coming out soon, or are we talking about something today that we're doing that was a fucking atrocity? I'm confused.
I really appreciated your hand gestures throughout all of that. It was very K-pop. I loved it.
It's all for the YouTubers. They're the ones I'm trying to pander to now. You other podcast listeners, you mean nothing to me. You're all dead to me.
Sweet YouTube money now, guys.
Yeah. Guys, if you want to go check out my K-pop moves, check us out on YouTube. It's going to be not worth your time.
But it will be right at the beginning of the video, so you can get on with your day.
Exactly. And talking about things that aren't worth your while, but right at the beginning, and then you can get them out of the way. What are we doing this week, Simone?
So we're doing sort of polar opposite ends of horror movies that did not do well in 2019. On the up and up, we actually broke our own rule, which is we only do movies that got less than 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, and we are covering Brightburn, just because we expected it to do like crazy well, and it got a measly 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then all the way on the other end of the spectrum is the Amityville murders. Not the haunting, you guys. Not with the Lutzes. These are the murders where the guy kills his whole family, spoilers, and the Lutzes are convinced it was because of like evil spirits or whatever. That's that story.
Yes, exactly. It features the DeFeos.
And,
I mean, we're doing it.
The DeFeos.
The DeFeos. They're so Italian.
Get ready for some horrific Brooklyn accents today, guys.
It's going to be amazing. Should I do my whole synopsis in a Brooklyn accent? That could be hilarious.
It's great that we have a visual medium now so people can watch me just cringe.
Oh, it's going to be so perfect. And they too can cringe at home. It's perfect. It's fun for the whole family. But like, look, I'm going to get into it, but I love the Amityville stories. So I am ready for this movie.
Are you full of corrections and rage?
I did a hell of a lot of research after this, very much unlike what we usually do with this podcast, but I knew a lot about the Amityville beforehand, but I did do a bit of research, and it is really cool. My synopsis is not so much about the movie, but the actual truth.
Awesome. Even better.
So I'm really excited. But yes, let's decide who gets to go first. Simone, what are you drinking?
I am, again, drinking an Amarula. Is it because it's the only open bottle of liquor on my liquor table? Yes, it is. But I'm sipping it. It comes in at 17%. It is delicious and creamy.
Oh, delightful. That sounds lovely.
Yeah,
we
do you hear the glass clink, the ice clinking?
I do, and it fills me with so much happiness and joy.
What are you drinking?
Well, I've literally just finished work because we're recording this during the week, and as you guys may have realized by the already chaotic energy, so I decided it would be easier for me to just record at work instead of going all the way home to record. So I am in a spare cupboard in the office, and because I'm at work, I'm drinking nothing. So you win by that. Yes. Exactly.
You didn't like sneak in a flask or something to really make everybody worry about you?
I mean, I think they're already worried about me, Simone. I mean, how could you not be?
You're running a podcast, for God's sake.
That's a midlife crisis if there ever was one for millennials. Um, but no, there are booze downstairs. It's just, do I really want to just like sneak one and be like, it's for the podcast? That's a bit. It feels
You
a bit.
totally could. My
secret.
work would let me.
Yeah, I think your work is a little cooler than my work.
My work is very cool. They want to pay. They're paying for half of us to get like boxing lessons. Well, they're paying for like half the fee if we
That's
sign
so-
up for like boxing classes. But I already do Krav, and I was like, I get pushed around enough. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you don't need to be punched in the face as well. No.
No.
To be fair, we're doing yoga for our social on Thursday, which should be
Oh,
really fun. I do enjoy yoga. It's
delightful.
yeah, should be good. Lots of
What
Ashtanga.
lives we lead. What millennial office spaces we inhabit.
It's all about experiences, guys. It's all
Mm.
about the experiences. And talking of experiences, tell me about Brightburn.
Chad, Brightburn is another one of those movies that I have been thinking about for a while.
Are you entering a really ponderous phase of your life?
I can't, like, clearly, but also, like, I think it's another much like After Earth. It's a concept that, like, could have been brilliant, and I can see just where it fell short.
Yeah. I think that is going to be sort of the huge focus for us on when we discuss this is about what went wrong and why. Yeah. Okay. Well, spin me a word yarn.
That was a burp. I think people who listen to the podcast and then switch to watching YouTube are going to be amazed by how often I burp in this podcast. And I'm not even like that much in real life.
They're going to be horrified. It's going to be amazing. They'll like listen to the episode, which is like 46 minutes long, and then they'll hop onto YouTube and it's like 2 hours, and they'll just be like, how is there so much?
It's mostly me burping. Okay. So, Brightburn. We all know this origin story. Tori and Kyle Brayer, played by Elizabeth Banks and David Denman, respectively, have always wanted a child but struggle with fertility. One night, a spaceship crash lands on their land. Inside is a baby. The two take the child as their own and agree to never reveal his true origins. Brandon Brayer, played by Jackson A. Dunn, is a bright, happy child until his 12th birthday. He finds himself drawn to the barn where his spaceship is hidden and quickly discovers he now has super strength. When Brandon eventually uncovers the spaceship that his parents were hiding, he breaks into a full-on rage and is initially furious, but calms down once he realizes he's actually a superior being and his task is to quote-unquote take the world. When a girl he likes rejects him, probably because of all the stalking that he did, Brandon breaks her hand. He also takes revenge on the girl's mother, who is rightfully kind of mean to him.
Yeah, 100%.
More murders happen. The whole time, Brandon's parents are defending him, refusing to believe it's their son, until the murder of his uncle. Kyle begins to suspect that Brandon might be involved in all of this, but Tori remains home, unable to accept the truth. Kyle takes Brandon to the woods for what he says is a reconciliatory camping trip. Once there, though, he attempts to shoot Brandon in the back of the head. Unfortunately, Brandon is bulletproof and kills Kyle in a cold rage. He returns home when he learns his mother has also accepted the truth about him. After a huge, very scary scene where he tries to chase her down, he does kill her too, in spite of all the movie's build-up about a mother's love. And as the credits roll, we see him embark on a rampage of destruction around the world, nicely set up for some sort of, like, evil Justice League sequel.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Yeah. So concise, and so you hit all the points.
Thanks.
So what is your scene that could have saved it?
Oh my god, you know what? It's gonna be this one, and out of context it won't make sense, so I am gonna give it the context. It's that it's when they're going camping and his dad gives him like the awkward sex talk because they found like weird porn under the mattress.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of urges, and like the moment anyone says urges, you know that they're talking about like puberty.
Yeah.
And that whole conversation is really interesting because like you watch it first and it's like really cringy and funny, and you're like, oh no, it's so awkward. But then it takes a really dark turn when you realize that he is using his dad's advice to stalk a girl that he likes.
Yeah, there's a serious mixed message there, especially when the kid goes like, can I fulfill them now? And the dad's like, no, obviously. Like, what? Like, he clearly misses the message, and yeah. But you're oh man, it was a good scene though. I will admit, like, the comedy factor of that scene was brilliant.
Perfect.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of sets the pace for this whole movie of just there's a huge mixed message here where they're trying to just pretend he's normal, where it's very clear that he's not. And I mean, obviously that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
But it really sort of like that is a very central theme that they're just trying to pretend, and it's never going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talk me through, like, what are your feelings about this? Since you've been thinking about this a lot. Tell me what you've been thinking about this.
Because, when we first saw the trailers for Brightburn coming out, we were like, this is amazing. Like, this is such a smart idea. Like, it's Superman, but like, what if he landed and he wasn't good?
Yeah.
And they kind of start off doing that concept really well. Like, they allude to wasps and a certain species of wasps that like leaves its eggs in another colony and lets the other colony raise it. And the wasps destroy the whole colony, and you're like, oh, that's some heavy-handed foreshadowing, but I'll go with it. And he's like this really sweet kid, and then all of a sudden he's doing like really fucked up stuff, and the gore in it is so good. The visual effects are amazing. The scary scenes are scary. The scene where he tracks down that woman in a diner, and the glass explodes.
Goes into her eye. It was absolutely brilliant. It was so well done. Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you were hoping for an action movie, you came to the wrong place. It is very firmly in the horror category.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable. Like, it's really entertaining at its surface.
Yeah.
But like, what was the message, Chad?
What was the message? Is it like, because like, okay, that was my biggest problem with it. Is because, right, so you have this brilliant concept. What if Superman was evil? Cool, excellent. And this is the problem with movies that you have these brilliant concepts for, based on other ideas, is because you box yourself into a corner. There's not much you can do with it. Like, you write yourself into a corner, especially with Superman being evil, because he's sort of indestructible. And because he's all-powerful, when you make him evil, there's only one direction it can go.
Yeah.
And so you have to write down that path, which is frustrating. And it kind of leads to a very obvious story. And there's very little that you can take away from it, except that, oh, well, we had this great idea and we wanted to make it a movie. Enjoy. And I mean, like, let's be fair, that's nice. It's a good idea. It's just a movie for a movie's sake. There's no sort of message. It's just kind of... there, it's just a movie, and that's nice in a way, but also when you're basing it off of something, you can't expect it to be amazing, and I think that's such a shame.
I mean, I think Superman's also always been kind of like throughout history, like sort of a comment on the times that we live in. So to then make a movie where you're using the Superman character in mythology essentially, but not like really trying to make any comments. It just kind of, it was like, this was a good movie, but it could have just been like more. And I think my problem with it is that they make him absolute evil. Like, he's a perfectly fine, sweet kid one day, and the next day he's like, he hears some fucking weird chanting from his spaceship, and then he's like, evil, and that's it. There's no stopping it. There's no turning back. Like, it's really just counting the minutes until he kills everyone from that point onwards, more or less. And that's not interesting. Like, no one, I mean, it was interesting, but like at the same time, like, that there's really no hope. No one really has a chance of like changing things. Even his mom, you have a really distinct impression that like she's not going to make a difference no matter how much she like adores him and believes in him and whatever. Excuse me. I'm burping a lot. I just ate dinner.
No, that's fair.
So you're just kind of like, eh. And like, wouldn't it have been more interesting if it were, I don't want to say exactly like the Joker, but a thing
Hmm.
where you have this kid who's really good and maybe he's bullied a lot. Maybe he
Hmm.
has all these feelings that he doesn't know how to deal with and he just keeps doing bad stuff. And maybe his
Hmm.
parents are like kind of mad at him because he does bad stuff and then he acts out more. And it's like this consistent, like, slipping down the slope of kind of
Hmm.
becoming evil and like maybe his parents realize too late what they've done or like just
Mm.
some sort of battle between good and evil in his heart.
Yeah, I
You
think
know
that
what
would
I
have been
mean?
really cool. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I kind of like the way I think about it and the way I would have sort of liked to see it go, is kind of similar to what you're saying about like the battle of good and evil. But
Mm.
if you think about the psychology behind it, when you go through puberty, the whole sort of idea, and obviously, obvious disclosure, not a doctor, not a
Yeah.
psychologist, don't know an awful lot about puberty except my own experiences and experiences of friends and kids. And the whole point of like puberty is that you test the boundaries, you see how much you can get away with. You are filled with a lot of hormones that make you do really stupid and crazy shit.
So much rage.
So much rage. And so from that point of view, it's really, really good because obviously it's this kid coming of
Yeah.
puberty and now he's challenging his parents and he realizes that he is in fact stronger than his dad.
Yeah.
And he can defeat his parents in every single way
Yeah.
possible, which is a really cool concept because what if a 12-year-old could defeat their parents in every kind of way? They would
Yeah.
kind of be a dick of a kid.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting idea. But what would have been really nice to see is when he killed his parents, spoilers, he had sort of some sort of consequence. Like he understood
Yeah.
that there was now a consequence for what he's
Yeah.
done. He's now an orphan boy. He's fucked up, and now he's killed the only two people who have ever loved him, and he's sad about
Yeah.
it. And so either he like devotes himself to good or self-destructs. But it just, bleh, it just doesn't go that way. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. And it's confusing too because like the whole reason that he like stalks and kills his stalks his aunt and then kills his uncle is
Mm.
because he's like, oh, don't tell my parents about this. And it's like,
Mm.
but why are you like, there's no clear reason for why he cares if his parents know or not. Like,
Mhm.
ultimately, he kills them anyway. He clearly
Yeah.
doesn't care too much about their opinions.
Exactly. Exactly. That by that stage he knew what he could do.
Yeah.
So
Like, he wasn't going to
yeah.
stick around much longer.
No, exactly. So it kind of just, it was a really nice build up. Like it was really cool, the build up to him like realizing his power.
Yeah.
But like I said, it just writ itself into a corner. Like there was nothing you could do from there. When you got an
Yeah.
all-powerful being.
What are his what are his actual motivations behind like the serial killery shit that he does? Like,
Yeah.
why? To what end?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, but look, overall, good movie, really fun,
Yes, very
excellent,
enjoyable.
excellent like jump scares, excellent costume. His costume is
Creepy as shit.
fucking terrifying. Who knew that that would be so scary?
When the uncle's like hears a sound in the closet and like goes in and turns on the light and the kid's fucking
Yeah.
there in the mask. Like I felt that. I was like, fucking imagine.
Like his reaction to that is ace. Like it is
Perfect.
spot on. Like the best reaction. Like that is exactly what would happen
Yeah.
if you were in that situation. Yeah, I love the actors. I mean, Elizabeth Banks is
They were
flawless
all
as always.
fantastic.
Yeah, I love the dad. He was brilliant as well. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you want to say about it? Anything else that you liked about it that we haven't mentioned so far?
No, I think we've covered it all. Very enjoyable movie. Just it could have gone that extra way.
Yeah.
Could have had a bit more thought in it.
Yeah. Would you say that the IMDb the Rotten Tomatoes score is justified, 56%?
I think so. I think the audience score is justified. The audience score I think was like 63 or 60.
Okay. Yeah.
Somewhere in the 60s. And I think it's a 60s movie.
Definitely. Something that you just put on but isn't really sort of
super enjoyable.
Yeah.
Watch it with your friends, but like it's not gonna like make you feel all the feelings.
No, exactly. So I mean, we've kind of covered sort of our scenes that would have saved it. Would you stick
Yeah,
with
I
what
think
you
so.
said about having it like have him actually have a war
Having
between good and
internal
evil?
conflict. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So and I mean, yeah, would you would watch it again? I would watch
Sure.
it again. Yeah, it's just fun. It's a good superhero movie. Damn.
It's a great horror movie too, actually. I mean, a lot of horror movie villains, in all fairness, a lot of them don't really have any internal motivations. They are just evil.
Yeah.
The only thing with Brightburn is that they're basing it off Superman, so we expect a little more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, this is sort of a reoccurring theme that's happening more now is horror films being matched with superhero films. I mean, we've got the New Mutants coming out in a couple months,
I
and
am
that's gonna
here
be
for it.
oh, that's gonna be so good. Oh,
Yeah,
so
I'm
good.
super here for it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Simone. That was really fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Sven. Well
Yeah.
done, you.
All right. Shall I tell you about the Amityville murders?
Yes, please. I watched this movie actually in 3 parts. I watched it this morning and then again at lunch at work. Well, not again, but like
Yeah.
in increments at lunch at work, and then when I got home today. So I know vaguely what happens, but like,
Mhm.
God. Okay,
Look,
talk me through it.
This and the Zodiac Killer are like sort of my wheelhouse. I love these two stories. Could I be any more typical basic white dude with that?
Fine. Listen, who am I to judge?
True. Okay, so here we go. For many years, the DeFeo family lived at 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, New York, in a house called High Hopes. But all that changed in 1974. The DeFeo family consisted of the father, Ronnie DeFeo, played by Paul Ben Victor, the mother, Louise DeFeo, played by Diane Franklin, 2 girls, Dawn and Allison DeFeo, played by Chelsea Ricketts and Noah Brenner, respectively, and 3 boys, Mark, Jody, and Butch DeFeo, played by Zane Austen, Hugh Lawrence, and John Robinson, respectively. On the surface, everything looked fine and dandy with his typical suburban family. In reality, however, Ronnie was an abuser and a drunk, often abusing his wife and 2 older siblings, Dawn and Butch. Butch and Ronnie never really saw eye to eye because Ronnie thought that at the age of 23, Butch should have made more of himself, either by joining the army or getting a job, instead of just freeloading off of his father. It's also alleged that Ronnie had some dealings with the mob. In the film, we see him storing money for a rather dodgy-looking character, and at one point the money goes missing and Ronnie thinks Butch took it, but as the movie goes on to show, it was actually the evil spirits that infest this house. The movie basically insinuates that the DeFeo family, stretching back to their nonna, played by Lainey Kazan, are in tune with some psychic ability. It skipped Louise, but the gift is manifested in Butch and Dawn, who, as kids, used to speak to the spirits that lived in their house. Now, it's years later, and Louise and Ronnie are speaking of selling the house. This, it would seem, has made the spirits very angry. As the movie progresses, we see that the spirits get stronger, poisoning Butch's mind. They deprive him of sleep, terrorize him with waking nightmares, and make him believe that his family is trying to kill him. They whisper in his ear that the only way to stop the voices is to kill the entire family. As we all know, he does. The weird thing about these murders, and why it is one of the most notorious mass killings in US history, both in the normal level and at a paranormal level, is that all the members of the DeFeo family were lying face down in their beds, and only 2 of the family members show signs of being awake when they were killed. This meant that none of the others stirred from the initial gunshots from the first murders. Over the years, Butch DeFeo has pleaded his innocence, at first saying that evil spirits told him to kill the family. Later, he alleged that it was Dawn who helped him. To this day, the truth of what happened that night has not come to light, but Butch DeFeo is currently spending 6 concurrent life sentences in a prison in upstate New York for the murders of his family members. The end.
Okay, before we jump right into this fun, I say fun like I'm being sarcastic, but no, I'm thrilled. Before we jump in, what's your cliffhanger?
So it has to. Well, actually, to be fair, I debated. So I'll talk about the one that I didn't choose first, which was where the Nonna and Dawn are speaking when Dawn leaves and goes to the Nonna's house to speak about the evil spirits, and she's just like, and the Nonna's like trying to be all like mystic and shit and like Italian gypsy, and it's just brilliant. But I didn't settle on that one because this clip is even better, and it's this one where it's the dad where Ronnie goes into Butch's room after Butch tries to shoot him and the gun fails twice.
Yeah.
And Butch goes, and Ronnie goes, "I'm really proud of you for what you did tonight, son. Any idiot could pull the gun." And I think that scene is just so fucking forced in to show how Italian they are. It's just
Oh, you mean not all of the dialogue is forced in to show like how fucking Italian they are? The whole opening scene to this fucking movie, dude. Like, you know, where she's
Oh,
like
man.
got the video camera and she's like, "This is my
Yeah.
family." It was like the beginning of an Olsen Twins movie. And it also, because the acting and everything felt so much like a high school play.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you got that vibe too. I was expecting
No,
like
definitely.
a song to start, like a little piano to be playing in the background, like dun, 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 dun.
Oh, and we're just a bunch of crazy DeFeos.
Like, oh my God, we get it. They're Italian American.
It was so funny when they started cooking and she's like cooking a lasagna or like
Yeah.
a pasta dish. I was
And
like,
her mom's
Jesus.
like, "Oh, this marinara's terrible."
Yeah, yeah, that was so funny. That's how Ronnie likes it, Ma. It's like, fuck off.
Ah.
Be more
I
Italian.
did have a lot of fun with the accents. You
It
know,
was good.
it's a fun accent to do. 'Cause
It was
it's like-
really, really good.
It's like lazier somehow than a normal American accent. And I say that with all the love in the world as someone who has one. But I think I talk like this, especially when I'm drunk, like because it's such a lazy way of
Yeah.
speaking. Like your whole mouth is just relaxed.
It's just doing its own thing. It's on vacay. It's on a
Yeah.
it's having a gap year, and like
Yeah.
it's so great because it's so almost New Jersey in its offensiveness,
But
that-
like not there.
but not there. Because like I think that's the difference you can tell between like a New Jersey person and an Italian New Yorker,
Uh-huh.
and it's so wonderful to hear these people talk, and it was just so much fun. Like the nonna especially.
Oh,
Oh, she was brilliant.
so I recognize that actress. She was in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. She plays the mom.
Was she also not in You Don't Mess with the Zohan, who played the mom?
Yes, she was. I've just clicked on her IMDb profile.
Can I be a bit rude and say that I thought it was Barbra Streisand for like the longest time?
Oh no, Barbara won't be happy to hear that.
She won't. Friend of the podcast, but not anymore. Yeah, genuinely thought it was Barbra Streisand for like the longest time, and then when I was doing my synopsis and I found out that it wasn't, I was like, oh, okay,
Oh.
all right, fair enough. But yeah, like, look, as a fan of, okay, not fan, but as a guy who is really interested in the Amityville murders and the Amityville horror that happened afterwards,
Yeah.
you know, I felt really annoyed by this film in the fact that they really try to push that it was the demons. I get it.
Yeah.
They're trying to do a horror film. But Butch DeFeo was fucking crazy. And in a way, you can understand it. It's kind of justified because Ronnie DeFeo was a dick and he abused
He
the
had
whole
a
family.
horrible childhood. It was very traumatic.
Yeah. So you can kind of understand why he did it. Obviously, guys, not condoning murder. Murder is wrong.
Lots
There
of
are other
people
ways
have
out.
horrible childhoods and don't murder their entire family.
Yeah. So, but like, what really upset me about it was the fact that they were like, "Oh, it was the demons. It's the demons."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, he was
no.
a nice guy otherwise. It was just the demons. Like, no, he was a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah, exactly. And
Or
even
he
now,
is a horrible person. Isn't he still alive?
yeah, no, he's still alive. He's still locked up, which is good. But you know, the fact that like afterwards he like changed his story so much and tried to blame Dawn as well, the older sister, who is like he said he was like, "Oh no, I was like in New York with my wife, who he wasn't even married to at the time." And he was like, "Oh yeah, we got married. I was with her. It was actually Dawn, and I came home and I saw that Dawn was killing everyone, and I fought the gun off her and I killed her." And it's like, what? She was lying face down in bed, dude. Like very clearly not. But yeah, like, yeah. What did you enjoy about the movie? What did you think? How did you feel?
Oh, Lord. I mean, you know, I thought that the set and the outfits and everything were beautiful, actually. I thought, like, they really tried to make it as, like, period as possible, and I thought that was really well done, the hair and everything. I thought the actress that played Dawn was really good, actually. I thought she did a really, really good job. The actress that played the mom,
She was okay.
Everybody did their best.
That scene where she's talking about a premonition where she dies with the whole family. Oh, that was so painful to watch.
I'm really bad at spotting bad acting, Chad. Like, I'm really, really bad at it. But even I was like, oh, that's what that looks like. Okay.
Oh,
But in all fairness, that actress does actually look a lot like,
Mhm.
what was the DeFeo's name?
Oh, what, the mum?
Yeah,
Louise?
Louise DeFeo? Yeah, Louise.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Okay, I didn't know that.
You know, because at the end they show all the pictures of the family and stuff, like actual
Right.
pictures. And I was like, you know, shit, like they really did make an effort to do her hair and makeup
right.
kind of like her. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a look now. That's amazing. Huh. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
They did a good job. Like, and I just love the design of the Amityville house. Like, it's got those two quarter circle windows that are creepy as shit. Unbelievable.
Okay, Chad, tell me honestly though, like if you saw a house like that, then like, you know, it wasn't like the Amityville house, but you just saw a house like that and they were like, it's going for a steal, and you're like, amazing. As a millennial, I never thought I would own property. This is great. And they're like, but a guy murdered his whole family in their beds. Do you buy the house?
Yes. Obviously, you probably put down more money because they got murdered in that house. How cool is that? You could be like, you own a murder house.
Would you be able to sleep in it?
I probably wouldn't for like the first couple months, and
Yeah.
I would probably go like insane. But like, it's still like really cool because like, can you imagine how cool that would be? Like, I'd be like, hey Simone, come over to my house. I've just bought this house. Come over, and you come in, and you're like, oh, this house is great. And I'd be like, you know what, Simone? People got murdered here, and you would be like, that is cool. That is very cool.
I can't sleep over, but thanks, Chad. This is fun. This is great for you. I'm so happy.
I would probably like sit down on the floor with the realtor and just like, tell me everything I want to know. How they died. Tell me all the things. True crime. Let's do it.
The thing is, I'm the opposite. Like, I talk a big talk, but like, if a realtor was like, by the way, tons of people were murdered, I would also be like, oh my God, tell me everything. Like, obviously, I'm not going to buy the house, but like, give me all the details. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You love your true form or your true crime in audio form, not through. Yeah.
I don't want to live it. So I've lived in a haunted house before. And disclaimer, it's entirely possible that I was just a very anxious child and my anxieties manifested because, God, I am still a very anxious child. But it was when we were young and my family lived in Chicago. We lived in a house. I could not sleep the night through the whole 4 years that we lived there.
Oh, no.
I used to hear footsteps walking up and down the hallway.
Oh,
And
God.
my parents just said it was like the house contracting and expanding, but like I fucking heard footsteps.
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't just me. Once when my mom had taken me and my sister to visit her sister, my dad was sitting in the basement, which is like where the TV and stuff was, and he heard footsteps coming down the stairs.
Yeah, you see.
But my dad, being my dad, was just like, I'm just not gonna look. I'm just not gonna turn around. I'm just gonna keep watching TV.
Not worth it. No. You've never told me that story before.
Yeah, and then so the scariest part was when my dad was walking down the stairs at night holding my sister because she was like a cute little toddler at that point. He felt a hand on his back and he fell down the stairs.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No. That's scary. I would have noped out that house.
Yeah. Anyway, my mom, for a lot of reasons, my mom believes that I'm really sensitive to hauntings, like
Just in
spiritual
general.
energy.
I'm just really
Literally,
sensitive.
when I moved into my apartment, well, the place I live now, my mom was like, "How are you sleeping there?" And I was like, "No, Mom, I'm fine. It feels pretty good." She's like, "Oh, I'm so glad I know how sensitive you are to these things."
That's crazy. I love that your mom believes you as well. That's great because a lot of parents don't. So that's super cool.
Or she's just like, this bitch is anxious, and if she
Yeah.
finds something to make her anxious in this house, she's never gonna sleep in it.
Tell the people about your first flat when you moved to
Oh
Cape
my
Town for
God.
the
Okay,
for
this is fun.
university.
This is
I
fun. We're
love
off
that.
topic
We're
completely.
we're a true crime and horror podcast now. We're no longer
Yeah.
movies. This is all we're gonna do now.
Just my ghost. This is my ghost experience. Yeah, so again, full on, I completely acknowledge that this could be like the culmination of a lot of anxiety, or the manifestation, there we go, of my anxiety. But we moved into this house, three of us, me and my two friends, I think when I was in second year of university, and I got the biggest room. We drew straws. I was really excited because it was like
It was
enormous.
a huge room.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
But I just could not sleep the night through in that room as well. Like if I was trying to sleep, I'd have to fall asleep like watching something on my laptop or like listening to an audiobook or something. I used to have nightmares like twice a week, which is way too often to have nightmares. And I one night I got up to get some water, and when I walked back, I swear to God, I saw like a shadowy figure standing in the corner. And it was so bad that I like went to a therapist about it. I was like, I am not sleeping. Like something is wrong with me. And he like I went to him for like 3 sessions, and we really tried to break it down. I was like, I don't think I'm like that stressed. And eventually he was like, why don't you just like move out of the room? And I did, and then I slept fine. And Sarah started getting nightmares when she moved into the room, my other roommate, because we swapped.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, that room was clearly cursed. It was
Clearly.
haunted. It was no question about it. That room was haunted. Yeah. No. So creepy. So creepy.
Long story short, I would not move into a murder house.
Fair. You see, all right, I want to give it a proviso because of what you've just said to me. I would move into a murder house, but I wouldn't move into a haunted house. I could very easily live in a place knowing that people got murdered.
Yeah.
But if it is haunted, I'm gonna nope ski out of there pretty quickly.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So
I just know, like, oh, go ahead. Sorry, continue.
I was just gonna say, like, if the Lutz's story is true, which it's very clearly not, but even so, it's just really fun. You know, I kind of get where they're coming from of why they would leave within 28 days. I wouldn't have even probably stayed 28 days. They stayed way too long.
Yeah. I get that, especially like in the UK and Europe, like so many of the buildings
Everything
are,
is
like,
haunted here.
so old. Like if you're
Everything
trying
is
to avoid a
1,000
place where
years old.
someone was murdered, I mean, good fucking luck.
Everything is 1,000 years old here. You're not allowed to tear it down because the government's all nostalgic and shit. So of course everything here is either someone's been murdered in it or it's haunted. There is no question.
So I guess you guys have more limited options.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, Simone, I'm getting back on topic, but semi getting back on topic. As someone who hasn't like really looked into this very much, why do you think that all 6 of the members of the DeFeo family didn't get up? Why do you think they were all face down?
So do we know that there was actually a storm that night, or was that just like something made up?
I am not too sure about that, to be fair. Is that what they said covered the gunshots?
Well, no, that was just my first assumption, because like in the movie there was a storm going and like
there's no mention of a storm in any of the
I would think also if you're in a house that like is really violent and like angry, where your dad like consistently beats up your older siblings, that like you'd hear banging and you'd be like, you know what, if I go out, I'm putting a target on myself. I'm just gonna stay and like pretend to be asleep. That would be my theory. 'Cause, I mean, obviously we don't know if any of them screamed or knew what was happening or whatever.
But, yeah. I mean, they say that like forensic reports show like 2 of them were awake during the thing. So like the other 4 were still asleep. So I mean, that's the part that like really freaks me out and like I'm really confused about, is because after the first bang, you may not you may wake up, but you may still stay in bed because of like you said, lots of beatings. You don't want to get a target on your back. But by the third shot, so to speak, by the third shot, I would probably think of going and hiding or something maybe.
Yeah.
Like that's just me. So like it just really confuses me that like
all 6
were face
no, it's
down.
definitely weird.
Yeah. So I don't
and
know,
upsetting.
man. Yeah.
What's your theory?
I don't know. That's the thing, because like I want to say supernatural, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's just the fun answer. But like it's so tough. Maybe, but because there's no the toxicology reports show that none of them were drugged either. So
Yeah.
like, are the
Could they
walls
be
really thick?
extremely sound sleepers?
Yeah. Like, because in a house like that, you would probably get to be, like you said, because of like all the banging and stuff, you would think in order to get a decent night's sleep, you're just going to ignore all noises.
Yeah.
So maybe they were just like hella good sleepers. I don't know how loud one of those rifles is. It might not be the
A
loudest.
shotgun is fucking loud. A
Yeah.
shotgun's really, really loud. Like, I hate firing shotguns because of the noise and the recoil and everything, like on my delicate shoulder.
So yeah, man, I just don't know. It's a really weird fucking thing. It is really weird.
And I think, like, that's the cool thing about the Amityville murders and the horror is there's like just enough stuff that's like kind of weird that like you can put any story you want over that. Do we know that there was like an Indian burial ground, or was that just sort of
I think that was made up. I think that was made up for the Amityville horror with the catch 'em and kill 'em shit. That was excellent. But yeah.
Look, the Amityville horror is a really fun movie, but the Lutzes are scam artists.
Yeah, the Lutzes are scam artists. But we got to see Ryan Reynolds a lot without his shirt on, and damn, that's a dream.
A really great kickstart to his career.
Yeah, it was. Okay, well, what's the scene that could have saved this for you in your mind?
I don't know, because, like, I think I watched it sort of exactly knowing how it was going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I was, like, bored with it because I was like, okay, and now, like, he's crazy, and, oh, there are demons, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to wonder how they could have built tension a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I think, obviously they didn't want to show it being like completely accurate where Butch was just like this asshole from the beginning, because that's not super sympathetic.
No.
And it, like, the whole story is actually just really sad. Like, it's this whole family where like the oldest son just tried to get the fuck out as soon as possible. Butch was like, deeply disturbed and beaten by his father. Dawn was horribly beaten by her father. The other kids just lived in fear of the day they got old enough to be beaten by their father. And it culminated in Butch having enough and snapping and killing his whole family. Like, it's a genuinely sad story, and they tried to spice it up. So I don't know if, like, what you could add to it. I guess I'd prefer to take out the scene at the end where Dawn, like, gives up and lies down because she remembers her mom, like, talking about her vision. I was like, no,
that was
fuck
awful.
off.
That really sort of degrades her memory, I felt. I thought it was like a real trash to her memory. That was really mean. I'm supposed to believe that this poor girl just laid down and let her brother shoot her. No, that felt really icky. Yeah, it really did. It was completely crass. They really didn't need to do that. That was gross. Yeah, I completely agree. That shit scene should have gone. I would have taken out all the demons. Like, I get the point that they're trying to make, but don't make this a horror film. You've got the Amityville horror. You don't need it. Make this like the Zodiac, like Helter Skelter, like the Ted Bundy one with the really, really confusing name with Zac Efron. Yeah. Those are really good serial killer movies, and this guy he's not a serial killer, he's a mass murderer. Yeah. And so make this about the murders, and make it like the events leading up to it, and like him going through like drugs and it's kind of all in his head, and that's what happened, and that's why he killed. I mean, can we talk about the mom like snooping around his room, and she opens his desk, and there's like a whole little heroin kit there, but she seizes on his sketchbook, and like he's drawn some dark shit, and she's like, oh my god, it's like, that's what you're fucking worried about? Not my first LSD kit, like. That was just really funny to me. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And it's never brought up, like, not at all, that he's just got drugs plainly in the house.
I mean, she brings it up like once when she's like fighting with her husband, who's a genuinely terrifying man. I think the
Yes.
actor did like an amazing job at just being
Oh yeah.
so scary and mean
Yeah.
and human
That
and
scene, yeah, that scene where where Butcher's friend comes over and like sits next to Dawn, and then he like starts to like attack Dawn.
yeah,
Like that was
very
brilliant.
hard to watch.
Yeah, like they did a really good job
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, yeah. And you see, that could have been the actual horror
Yeah.
about this film instead of like making it about the demon
Yeah.
and shit. No one needed that.
Like, the whole story's a bummer. I'm not sure a movie should have been made out of it. Like, Amityville
Yeah.
Horror is fair game because that's fucking what the Lutzes wanted.
Yeah.
But, like, the murders are just, I don't know. It's kind of like, you know how we refused to do The Haunting of Sharon Tate because we were like,
It just hurts
Yeah.
to say it. Fuck.
it was viscerally gross
Yeah.
to read about it. Like, and I don't know. I feel kind of the same about this. I'm like, this is
Mm.
just a really horrible
sad
thing that
story.
happened.
Yeah.
Some of the
it's a
circumstances are a
tragedy.
little mysterious, but, like,
Yeah, it's a tragedy. It is a,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
dead to rights tragedy.
Yeah, and then to be like,
and-
oh, but
yeah.
was it ghosts? I don't know. It could have been done better.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit more tact would have been
Yeah,
yeah. healthy. Yeah. So would you watch this again?
probably not. No,
Yeah.
much as I enjoy the whole Amityville story, what I would do if I wanted to relive that is Last Podcast on the Left does a
Mhm.
great series on the Amityville house, starting, with the DeFeos and moving on to the Lutzes. I'm just burping today.
You're just a gaseous ball. You're like a Jupiter,
Thanks, Chad.
but like a really like slender Jupiter.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. What is your scene that could have saved it, if anything?
Yeah, get rid of the demons altogether. You know,
Yeah.
just keep it really simple. Keep it in his head. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, keep him looking like you don't give him an excuse. He did a terrible
Yeah.
thing,
You
and
did
he
a
should
horrible
be
thing.
and he should be punished for it. Like we shouldn't see him as this guy who was like, we shouldn't be empathetic to him. He killed
Yeah.
5 people. 5 people? 5 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He killed 5 people. Like shit. Dude should not get any sympathy from us at
6
all.
people.
6
It was
people.
his
Sorry.
parents and 4 siblings. Yeah.
Four siblings. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't watch this again.
No.
As well. Like you've got the Amityville horror. You've even got the old 1970s Amityville horror if you want to. Where I might add, there is a scene of the mother doing naked ballet, which is just so 70s.
That is extremely 70s. Does she have like a full bush or?
Oh, well, no. It's just her top half because this was for mainstream media. But she's
Fair enough,
wearing
fair enough.
she's wearing the leg warmers and the tights, and then she's doing ballet without a top on, and it's just like, well, this was very obvious. Please, don't even try to make a good movie.
And then in the later one, they were like, what if Ryan Reynolds was shirtless?
Better idea.
Much better.
Yeah. So, Simone, we've done it again.
We've done it.
Yes, and we never have to watch these movies again. Although I will watch Brightburn again.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
Yeah. Simone, next week.
I have an idea.
I also have an idea.
Oh my
This
God,
is
look at
rare.
us.
All right, you tell me your idea first.
I thought we could do a Charlie's Angels week. So we do whichever one of the Charlie's Angels movies with like Cameron Diaz and stuff did
Yeah.
worse.
Right.
And then we do the latest Charlie's Angels movie, which kind of bombed.
Did it? Yeah, it didn't do well, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I like that idea actually. It's more on brand than my idea.
Oh, what was your idea?
I'm gonna tell you now because we can do it next week. I'm just looking at which Charlie's Angels did worse, and of course, Rotten Tomatoes is doing what it always does.
Let me help.
Rotten Tomatoes, you are Charlie's. Nope.
Okay, what do we got? Okay. Okay, so the first one, the 2000s one, got 68%.
Damn it.
Oh, but the second one, Full Throttle, got 42%, so we're in the clear.
Cool.
And then the latest one got 52%, so I'll
Yes,
take it.
same. Yeah. Okay. So Charlie.
We'll do Charlie's Angels Full Throttle and the latest Charlie's Angels.
Okay, cool. Which would you prefer to do?
I'll do Full Throttle. I think I watched that an inappropriate amount of times in my childhood.
It's so good. I think I did too. It really opens up your sexual awakening. Okay, so my idea for next week, next week, is movies that people think are really good but are actually trash, and we could do A Star Is Born and 500 Days of Summer.
Oh my God! Whoa! Why are you attacking these movies?
Because they are trash, Simone.
Okay, remember when we used to do a segment called It's Not That Good, and we used to fight every week, and we stopped doing it because it wasn't fun anymore, and we were just being mean?
Yes, but it's just 1 week. I'm not asking you to
But I don't agree with you on either of these movies being trash.
Simone, in A Star Is Born, the dude is a drug addict who uses her to rise to fame, and it fails, so he kills himself. And 500 Days of Summer, he uses her as a pixie manic dream girl.
But that's the whole point of the movie, is you're supposed to figure that out. The audience was just too dumb to do it.
That's what I'm talking about. And people are dumb, and so we can tell them that they're dumb, and then tell them why they're dumb, and then fix the world.
Okay, let's discuss this next week.
Okay, we'll discuss it next week.
Whoa. I just didn't expect to be attacked this late in the episode. Shit.
It's not a personal attack. It's an attack on the movies. I love well, no, I don't. I love 500 Days of Summer. I think I'm not a fan of A Star Is Born. But yeah, fine. We'll discuss it.
Okay. Do you want to lead me in for Charlie's Angels, or are we just gonna fight now?
I'll lead you in. All right. We've breathed. We've breathed. Okay. So, Simone, next week, what are we doing?
We're going to do kind of a fun one next week. We are going to do a Charlie's Angels episode. So we're going to do the latest Charlie's Angels that came out late last year, and we are going to do Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which I believe is a classic.
Look, the Cameron Diaz era of Charlie's Angels is just so much fun. It's just ridiculous.
They're amazing.
They're sexy, they're feisty, they're hilarious, and they're just like the girls next door as well. Like her and Drew Barrymore are just so much fun, and Lucy Liu. They're just hilarious.
So cute.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one, and I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm really keen to watch these movies.
Yeah, I think the new one, like, it looks bomb. I'm sad that it didn't do so well.
It got a really good audience score though. It got an audience score of like 78% or something outrageous.
Okay, yeah. That's awesome. Very exciting then. Excellent. Okay, well, tell me then, Simone, what is your optimistic thing for this week?
My optimistic thing for this week is, just really good friends.
Okay.
Like I said, I had a really good weekend this weekend where I got to hang out with a couple friends that I haven't seen for a while, and it was just nice. Like, I feel very lucky that I've got like this little family in Cape Town, and we like support each other and love each other, and I can count on them to tell me if I'm maybe being a dick, and I'll tell them if they're being a dick, and it's all love.
Aw, that's really nice. That's really cool. It's good to have that base, because you never alone.
Definitely. Yeah. And of course I've got you. Mr. Ackowitz.
You've always got me. We're homies to the end, ride or die.
It's too nice to tell me when he's carrying the podcast and I am the antelope limping behind him.
Simone, let's be fair. For the first 6 to 8 months of this podcast, you carried it, and I just did the bare minimum. I showed up, so it's all fair. We're being very fair.
It fluctuates.
It fluctuates.
And what's your optimistic thing?
My optimistic thing, it's really dumb, and I hate you for doing something so heartfelt, is Risk. So I played it first. The first time I ever played Risk was at New Year's this year, just passed in 2019. Oh, wow. And it was really fun. I really got into it. So I was like, shit, I really want to play Risk. And so I looked, and I found that there is a mobile game, so you can play Risk on your phone. And that is what I've been doing, non-stop. I have been playing so much Risk. So I'll study. Cute. I know, right? Yeah, so I'll study, and I'll go down for dinner, and I'll have dinner, and then I'll be like, well, while I'm watching this episode of whatever, I'll just play a quick game of Risk. And then at work, I'll be like, all right, well, while I'm making this phone call, I'll just go and play a bit of Risk. And so every spare moment that I have is just devoted to Risk, and it's really sad, but I really love it.
I'm so glad for you. That sounds wonderful. You deserve it.
It's so nice. It's such a great strategy game, and it's just making me really happy.
I'm so glad, Chad.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my optimistic thing. Great. Well, we did it again, Simone.
We've done it.
What an episode. How much fun. I had a really good time. I love weekday podcasts.
Yeah, that fun chaos energy where we go off tangent and talk about my trauma and anxiety for 5 minutes.
It's beautiful. It's what we're all here for.
It's what we're all here for.
Exactly. And guys, thank you so much for listening. And I used to do this thing where I used to say share with your family, share with your friends, share with your dog. And I don't do that anymore. So guys, share with your family, share with your friends, share with your dog, share with your uncles and aunts, share with your entire family that you do not want to kill. And while you're sharing these things, why not write us a comment, right? Why not give us a rating? It really, really helps us. I mean, it's where we get found things. I mean, someone on Twitter a couple weeks ago said something very nice to us, didn't they? Can't remember who it was. This
person who we don't even know, who's not even like one of our immediate family or friends, was like, "Hey, I just found your podcast and I love it," and my heart glowed for 3 days straight. I think their Twitter handle is like cat something KAT. Thank you. Love
really,
you.
really appreciate
My heart really did glow.
It did. She messaged me after she found the message. She was like, someone just mentioned us on Twitter and they found our podcast and they really like it. And it makes so much difference to us. Like we know that our friends and family support us and they love us, even if they hate the show. But when actual human beings who don't have any stake in our emotions tell us that they love the show, it is amazing and we really appreciate it. It just like we feed off that so much. So when you do tell us, it makes such a difference. And I mean, to be fair, if you don't like the show or you think it can be improved, tell us. We would love to learn how to be better at this. Life is about learning, guys. So help us. And where can they help us, Simone?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. And for those of you not watching on YouTube, you can find us on YouTube. Just look for Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Yeah, and see our faces, see our fun moves. We're very animated people. Yeah. That's the face. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, let me stop the recording.